7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So Outbreak off the bat, get my first DS up, get my Heart Strikes in, and then reapply my second DS right away. Now that the ads are coming in, I'm going to get D&D on the ground. I'm going to make sure I Blood Boil all of them. And I'm going to DRW just in a moment. I'm going to AMS and Rooks, though, for this AoE. And I'm going to DRW right now, just to make sure I get max damage after I've gotten a nice chunk of Vengeance from Garrosh. Laryl's going to be taunting momentarily once again, just to restack his Vengeance.
Taunted.
So there's his taunt. Once my Vengeance wears off in 13 seconds, which is in line with the taunt DR timer, I will be making sure to re-taunt Garrosh to reapply my Vengeance, or to restack my Vengeance from him as well.
I'm getting next.
He's also nearing the 35, so this time I'm going to be better about my Soul Reaper. I'm going to use that. So Sten is taunted. I'll be taunting Garrosh. Taunting. So when I taunt him, I make sure to reapply my Bone Shield, which was just about to fall off. And I make sure that I'm going to use my Vamp Blood here too, just to make sure that this extra magic damage doesn't kill me on top of the ads. Healers have enough to worry about with all the AoE damage. They shouldn't have to worry about tank healing as well.
Just gotta wait for the Arcane Barrages to hit him.
So once Garrosh is about to transition here, I'm also going to pop my my Iron Skin from my Dwarf Ritual, rather. So once he's transitioned here, we're going to focus on DPSing this wolf. I just want to make sure that I get my Pestilence onto him with my Blood Boil. And he's melting pretty quickly, so I'm going to use a very ambitious, predictive Soul Reaper, which does hit in time. And tanks here, once again, are going to rotate their Vengeance one last time before going upstairs. And when we go upstairs, you guys saw, we're going to get one AoE stun on the group, and then after that we're going to get one set of interrupts, and the ads should be dead by then in the group that we were in. So here we go back upstairs. I run over right away, make sure I Outbreak. We're going to wait for that first AoE stun.
Think interrupts, my son.
And then we're going to get the interrupts. Get that last ad down and let the range finish it off. Get ready. Let's go. And once again, I'm going to wait till the very last second here for my IBF, just to make sure that I get 4 soaks out of it instead of just 3. And this time I'm going to save my army for phase 3 instead of wasting all that DPS time. So I can soak this last one with IBF, and after this it's going to be Bone Shield, Vamp, and Rooks. And there's about 3 more after this. So I'm going to AMS that one. And actually pop my Bone Shield, what do you know? So I'm going to get in that barrier. I didn't even pop my Bone Shield and I survived. Well, what do you know? So once we're out of this, I'm not going to use my army this time. Instead, I'm going to DRW just to get the max damage. I'm also going to Empowered in a moment. There it is. And I'm going to just do as much damage as I can prior to having to taunt in about 4 seconds. Taunting. So once I taunt, I move Garrosh into the next position now that the MC's gone off over there. And I get ready for this first whirl, which will have AMS up, or should have it up, just as it starts. And I make sure, once again, during that AMS, to build up and maintain my Blood Shield. I just left a huge gap there, I shouldn't have done that. So I use my AMS, it gets eaten, my Blood Shield's at max, and I keep an eye on my Blood Shield, and make sure to reapply any stacks on Blood Shield as soon as that max value has dissipated. So I've reached my 3rd stack, Laryl taunts, I make sure immediately to get my Blood Shield back to max, and I wait for Sten's 3rd stack, at which point I will then be taunting again, and tanking the boss for another 3 stacks myself. So Sten will move here in just a moment.
Next one's gonna be Shadow Priest.
In just a moment, I make sure I reapply my taunting. Make sure I reapply my Blood Shield one last time. And here comes the next whirl, for which I can Rooks, and I can also use my AMS. So I'm going to put my Rooks up, I'm going to AMS, and once again I'm going to focus on getting my Blood Shield up to make sure that I have a nice full Blood Shield for when he finishes his whirl. I keep an eye on my Blood Shield values at all times. I'm also going to Vamp here, just because it's such a low CD. It'll be back up by the time I need it upstairs. Laryl is now taunted at the 3 stacks. Once he has his 3rd stack, Sten will taunt. My job in the meantime, again, is to make sure that I I get my bone shield up, or my blood shield up, and I maintain it. So there's then second stack, taunting. So when I taunt, my bone shield has 3 seconds left on it. I make sure to reapply it, and I keep an eye on the value that it's at. 483k. It's now been depleted. So I should supplement here, and I did with Iron Skin. Or I keep saying Iron Skin, Stone Form. I don't know why I keep saying that.
Here we get that.
So once this AoE is finished, we're going to be heading upstairs. Once again, I will be running to the top. I will be calling for PS, and I will grip the ads myself this time. I'll be calling for PS again. Siri. So I'm going to get my blood. I'm going to get my diseases rolling, and I'm going to blood boil as I run up the stairs here.
Project it up the stairs if you can.
And drop a D&D. Go ahead and PS me.
At the top of the 7?
PS me. Gripping. So once we get that grip in, we want to make sure we DPS all these ads down nice and quick. Hopefully I get a buff.
Put on the first thing.
So I didn't get a buff, so I won't be able to soak this time. Because I don't have a 50% mitigation. So I'll just safely play it behind Garrosh and just stay out of his annihilates. It's going to be obviously a bit of a DPS loss. I'm missing a lot of vengeance. But that's okay. In the meantime, I'll just focus on maintaining my blood shield, keeping it max value. So by the time we get downstairs, I can taunt and have... by the time we get downstairs and it's my turn to tank, I can get a full round of... I can taunt with a full blood shield. Words are hard. I just got turned around because my mouse is skitzing. So once we're down here, I'm going to, again, make sure to get my blood shield back up. It fell off because I'm an idiot and ran the other way. So Sten taunts for 1 stack, taunting. I taunt for the next stack, and I drag Garrosh much like before. And here in the corner, I'm going to use both Rooks and AMS because I don't have a lot of space to move, and I will be definitely eating some Void Zones here.
Shrink this
Script. Yep.
So there's the AMS, there's Rooks. I make sure not to blood boil while these ads are spawning. I don't want to spread my diseases to them and accidentally pull aggro later. And I make sure to have my my blood shield and my bone shield up as soon as he's done his whirl.
Got him.
There's just one on tanks, just kill it. It's dead. So once again, we're rotating every 3 stacks here. So there's Sten's second stack.
I love their stuff.
I'll taunt in a moment. Taunting.
Go for it.
And then when I taunt, again, I make sure to have my blood shield up.
Seize.
Make sure I'm maintaining a Soul Reaper rotation too. And we're going to start inching towards the middle now because he's about to transition.
Might be able to beat it.
Yeah, we'll beat it for sure.
Yeah,
So I'm going to slowly transition. I'm going to slowly move him here just to make sure that everyone gets some DPS on him. There's a transition. I'm going to army.
Spots.
And we want to burst him down as quickly as possible here. I'm going to Soul Reaper right away out of this. I'm also going to make sure I taunt him back. He's at 4 stacks. Sten knows this though, so he will not taunt again until the 4 stacks wear off, which should fall in line just about perfectly with the 3 stacks on the tanks. So I pop my DRW just to get a bit of extra damage. I get the double diseases up. And after this, just like you guys saw before, I will be charging my blood shield between taunts on the tanks. Currently it is at full value. So once I taunt off of Sten, I know I'll be safe. Taunting.
Can I get a binding?
So I taunt with a full blood shield. I keep an eye on its value. Every time it dips a bit low, I will death strike if it's available and I haven't spammed it earlier. Moving for this whirl just a bit. So I'm going to AMS for this whirl. I'm going to save my Rooks for the next one when it's a bit more dangerous.
Weapon back. Gripping 2.
And I'm going to make sure that my blood shield is constantly kept up as soon as he's done that whirl.
In the melee.
Watch these ads. Watch these ads. So Sten's going to taunt off with me.
I'm MC'd out here.
It's okay, I got this one. Just kill it.
Yeah, cast up.
Finish MCs,
I'm going to get these MCs. Taunting. So once Sten reaches his 3rd stack, I taunt Garrosh again.
Get on circle, get on circle.
I make sure to back him on just a bit so they have space to spawn the weapon. Keeping a Soul Reaper rotation going at all times.
Might be able to skip.
I'm going to use my Vamp here just to help a bit with healing.
Sten, can you throw a vortex to your right, please?
So Sten is now taunted. I'm waiting till he gets his 3rd stack. Taunting. So this will be the final one. Here, again, I make sure to apply and keep up my blood shield. So it is at max value right now. I know that as soon as we get out of here, I will be absorbing all of Garrosh's physical damage, so I'm safe. I reapply my bone shield as well. Make sure not to blood boil while all these ads are running by me. Small explosion. That's it for tanks.
Turkey's over. Turkey's out there.
Turkey's an
Turkey
after.
is on me, slowing me, you bastard.
Dropping vortex.
Bunny shot down, I got bunny.
So now we're going to be transitioning up here. I want to make sure I reapply my diseases, even though they'll probably fall off during the
Okay,
RP.
good job, guys.
Good job, Turkey.
It's amazing, Turkey.
Malice, spawning Iron Star, Stan, Vigilant, Doxy, Roy, Tess, Larold, Turkey, George. Fourth is Vigilant, Larold,
So I'm going
Bonham,
to
Roy,
get the
Stan,
boss
Tiger.
over to the right side as quickly as possible. So first thing I'm going to do is pop Death's Advance when he starts running after me. I'm going to make sure I Blood Boil too to reapply those diseases so I can save my Outbreak for DRW. And once I position him, again, I'm just keeping an eye on my Blood Shield stacks. Since the tanks are rotating right now, so I'm going to use that opportunity real quick to build stacks. Taunting back. Once I taunt back, I see that I have a healthy enough Blood Shield to keep going. I keep an eye on my Blood Shield value at all times. Anytime it dips low and I don't have DS available, I'm going to be supplementing that with either a Vamp, Stone Form, or even an IBF if I really need. Right now, it still hasn't fully faded yet, so it's no problem. Tanks will be rotating here in a moment. The boss's DR timer just fell off. So there's Stens. I can see his Vengeance at the bottom. Larold's about to rotate too. Let's go, Larold.
He's gaining energy.
Get on him.
Taunting. So Larold did not rotate his Vengeance there, so I just had to taunt back. And during this run, I'm going to pop Death's Advance as well, just to get him into his position quickly. And once I'm there, I'm going to slow down just a bit. Slowing down. So I'm going to slow down just a bit, and I'm going to keep an eye on the boss's ass just to make sure they have space. You guys are good. So once I see that there's no fire on the boss's ass, I park the boss, and I return back to keeping an eye on my Blood Shield. The boss is about to get hit, so I go to the correct side of him. Once he's stunned, it'll be a good opportunity for me to recharge my Blood Shield, which is now at max value. And once that's done, I'll keep an eye once again on it. Also keep an eye on my Bone Shield, which is about to fall off as well.
Don't worry about it.
Taunting back. So Larold has recharged his Vengeance. I reapply my Bone Shield, which was about to fall off. And I'm also going to Vamp because we're about to move for the next bombardment here. And I'm also going to use Stone Form here and DRW. I want to save my IBF for the final movement we're going to have. So same story here, I'm going to move quickly, and once I get towards the end, I'm going to slow down and keep an eye on the boss's ass to make sure that the DPS in the raid have space to move. Okay, so there's no fire on the boss's ass, I'm good here. Keep a Soul Reaper rotation going. The tanks have once again rotated their Vengeance. I've checked in the bottom left, taunting back. I taunt back once they've both rotated their Vengeance. I also notice again that the boss is at 3 stacks of taunt DR. Tanks are not going to taunt until those 11 seconds are up and the boss's taunt DR has disappeared. For this final movement, I'm going to use IBF just to make sure I don't die, give the healers a bit of breathing room to deal with raid healing rather than tank healing. And once I get them again to a safe location, I'm going to move a bit slower and make sure that the raid is okay.
Get in, Malice.
So they're good, they have no fire on their ass, and I have finally reached my final position here. Tanks will once again rotate the Vengeance. Taunting. So Larold has rotated his Vengeance, I'm taunting back, and the boss is dead.
I gotta work.